When I was little, people used to call me Small Tinu the Help. I grew up in the big white house on Olowu Street, not as family, but as the daughter of the woman who cooked for them. Madam let my mother live in one of the small rooms behind the main house. Every morning, while I carried my school bag, her daughter, Ife, carried hers too, only hers came with a driver and packed lunch in a golden lunchbox. Same uniform. Different words. At first, Ife and I were close. She would sneak into the kitchen and share her food with me. We watched movies together when her parents were out. She even told her friends I was her cousin. I believed her. Everything changed the day her mother overheard her say that. One evening, Madam came into the kitchen while we were laughing and said sharply, "Ife, what did I hear you telling people at school? That this one," she pointed at me, "is your cousin. Are you out of your mind? Don't ever disgrace me like that again." Ife went quiet. Her face hardened. After that day, something in her shifted. The next morning, she didn't wait for me before going to school. And when I tried to talk to her at school, she just said, "Don't follow me around. People will think we are related." It hurt. But I stayed quiet. Because what could I say? She was right to everyone else, I was the maid's daughter. Still, I kept helping her. When she forgot her notes, I lent her mine. When she failed a test, I stayed up helping her study. But each time I did, she grew colder, like my kindness reminded her of something she was ashamed of. By JSS 2, she had new friends, girls who lived in big houses like hers. One afternoon, a classmate asked Ife why I always smelled like the kitchen. She pointed at me and laughed. "Oh, that's her mother's cooking. They live behind my house." The whole class laughed. And from that day, I became invisible, the maid's child trying to fit into a world that didn't want her. But I promised myself something that night. I would never let them make me feel small again. So I studied hard. When Ife skipped assignments, I stayed up to finish mine by candlelight. When she went to parties, I stayed back to read. When she mocked my cheap books, I bought more. By SS3, the results came out. I got the best score in the entire school. Ife barely passed. Her parents threw a graduation party and invited everyone, except me. But that was okay. Because 2 weeks later, I got a full scholarship to study accounting at the university. In university, we lost contact, until one day, during my final year, I saw her again. She was visiting campus with friends. Still glamorous. Still loud. Still looking down at everyone. She asked, "So you're still doing that book thing?" I smiled. "Yes. And you?" She shrugged. "My dad's business. I'll start working soon." We both knew what that meant, connections. Privilege. But I didn't envy her anymore. After graduation, life hit differently. I interned at a small farm, barely earning enough to pay transport. Some days, I wanted to give up. But every time I thought of that kitchen, that laughter, that shame, I kept going. 1 year later, a multinational firm opened a new branch in Lagos. They needed junior analysts. I applied. I got in. It was tough, new systems, new faces, long nights, but I climbed. Within 5 years, I became one of the youngest project leads in the company. Then one morning, HR sent out an internal memo. We had a list of shortlisted candidates for internship. And guess whose name I saw? Ife Adewale. I stared at it for a long time, not out of anger, but disbelief. Life really had come full circle. During the interview day, she walked in, dressed elegantly, smelling of expensive perfume, still carrying the confidence of someone who'd never heard no. She didn't recognize me at first. Not until I said, "Good morning, Miss Adewale. Please, have a seat." Her smile froze. Tinu, she whispered. I nodded. Yes. Tinu Ajayi. The housemaid's daughter. She laughed nervously. Wow, look at you. You've really made it. I smiled slightly. We are just getting started. The interview went on. She stumbled through her answers, unsure, unprepared, distracted. When it ended, I walked her to the door. Before she left, she turned to me. You put in a good word for me, right? I looked at her, the same girl who once mocked my smell, my mother, my existence. And I said softly, I don't need to. Your work will speak for you. She didn't get the internship. But I didn't feel proud or petty. I just felt free. That night, I went home to my mother, now old, with silver in her hair, and told her, Mama, we made it. She smiled weakly and said, No, my child. You made it. And in that moment, I realized revenge doesn't always come through power. Sometimes, it comes through peace. Because nothing silences those who look down on you. Like the sound of your success.